guys, this is Trish from Stampin' with Trish, and I had a great question this week and I wanted to address that. It's regarding the Big Shot. Now this Big Shot is a work horse in my studio and I use it constantly. As you can see, it's very well worn. The plates are extremely indented with all the different dies I've used. Which is very, very normal. When this comes, you will receive it with brand new, perfectly beautiful plates. And you can always replace these. I think they're like $11 for 2 plates. But you know what? I'm not gonna worry about it till these things break or whatever they do. So these are a year old, so I'm still cranking stuff out beautifully. So they do get a little bit of a warped, a little bit of a curve there. Nothing too bad though. And when they do, you just turn them the opposite way and roll it through. So I just haven't had any issues. So I just wanted to let you know that it is perfectly normal to get them all marked up. Now there are ways that some people swear by putting dies upside down and then your paper on top of that, which if you want to go to that much work, you go for it. But to me, I like to see exactly where I'm placing my dies. So for me, I don't really care if mine get marked up. So it's all up to you and what you want to do. But there's videos out there that'll show you if you want to switch it up a little bit. But I'm first going to show you when it comes, it'll come with a base plate, which you always use. And then it comes with what's called a thin die adapter. And then it will come with 2 clear plates. Obviously mine aren't clear, but they do come clear. Now, I've talked a lot about the layered, well, different 3D embossing folders. This one happens to be the layered leaves, which is gorgeous, and it adds so much texture to your projects. So I'm going to show you real quick how this works, and how you layer these are a little different than a traditional embossing folder. A traditional embossing folder, you will just take 1 plate out and put that underneath and roll it through. But because this is so thick, you have to take out the thin die adapter and only use these 2 plates. And you'll figure it out, because if it doesn't roll through, you'll know you've got to take something out. So it's not something you have to remember, and it'll just come to you. So I wanted to also show you these little spritzers. I use these infrequently, but when I do use it, they are super nice to have. I think you get 2 for like $3. They shoot such a fine mist and they're perfect. I've used them when I've inked up blocks and I'll spritz on the block. It just adds a super fine mist. But I'm going to do this off camera. I'm going to mist this cardstock a little bit. And the reason being is that it helps to loosen the fibers just ever so slightly, so that when you run it through this 3D embossing folder, it will help the paper to move a little bit deeper, a little bit wider, to accommodate for these curves in this folder. Now, you don't have to spray it and it will be just fine, but if you want a nice, deep, dark impression in this, I highly recommend just spritzing it just a little bit. And with these, I tend to roll it through a couple times. I'll roll it forward, then I'll roll it back, just to make sure that it allows it to fully move into all the grooves. And then, as you can see, the magic has happened. I mean, it's incredible. These folders are so beautiful, and it adds such texture. I did this one a little bit earlier, the green, But as you can see, there's lower impressions and deeper impressions. So that's just the way these are created, to have high and low spots to add interest to your project. So these are fabulous, and you need this machine in order for these to work. So another option for you. Okay, so I'm going to move right into how the dies work, and we'll layer this back up. I'm going to put my cap on my spritzer. And I'm going to first pull in, let's see here. I'm going to first pull in, I was working on a project the other day and showed a photo of how deeply and easy these leaf images embossed. And many of the sets now come with both embossing and cutting. And that's the difference in these. These are strictly for embossing. And then you can easily cut these images out by using the different dies that come in it, because they layer perfectly. So say you're cutting this one out like this, or you're gonna emboss it, then you can go back and cut it out. It is a two-step process, but it's really just not that big of a deal. And the cool thing about this is it really, really does a nice job. And I'll just do a few of these just to show you. And you got to lay them upside down. Sorry. And then we'll roll that through. Oops, that one slid a little bit when I scooted the plate in. That happens. And if you're wanting specific spots, that's where I would use a little piece of a sticky note, or washi tape will hold those exactly in place if you're trying to really line something up. Now at this point, you just kind of pinch it in the back and start rolling through. And again, I would go through a couple times. As you can see, I didn't stack this perfectly even. It doesn't really matter as long as the thickness where you're rolling it through is getting all the layers. So we'll go ahead and remove these. And hopefully you can see what a nice deep impression those are. I'll pull it up to the camera. The lighting might be kind of bad. So hopefully you can see that. I did post a photo using mint macaron and these leaves, and they just turned out beautiful. The brown probably doesn't showcase it as nicely. So then if you want to go back and cut something out, we'll use this again. We'll cut out a tree. So they have like little ridges on one side that's the cutting side, and on the other side it's totally flat. So you want to put the cutting side down, and then you're going to put your plate back on and just roll it through. And one time should do it. If you find it hasn't cut well, you can resend it through. But there, it just pops right out, and there is the tree. So that's just as easy as it is. These, it's amazing how well these cut out. So there is that. Now, say you are cutting out something that is a little bit more intricate. That's where it's nice to have the precision plate base. And to be honest, I have this and I rarely use it. And so you can get by with just this, honestly. It is nice to have, and it does make all the little pieces come out of these thin little tiny dies, but you don't have to have this, and I'll show you how to get around that. So we're going to go ahead and lay this down and put that on top. Roll that through. Now on this, I will go through probably 2 or 3 times to make sure it really cuts through nicely. And then we'll take that off, and you can see it's cut through and it pops out, but the snowflake is now attached to the die. So what we're going to use now is a little brush, and we sell these as well. And you just run that little brush over the die like this, and it will release the die. So there you go. Now, sometimes I didn't get any leftovers. If you have little pieces that stay stuck in your die, I use what's called and this is a brand new one, and whoever orders the first Big Shot after you see this video, I will send this to you. But this is called a paper piercing tool. This is an old one that I have that's eons old. The new ones are really nice. They have more of a rubber tip, and they have a protector little base on them. And they're sharp, so you got to be careful. But the great thing about these is they will get in and just poke out little pieces if you didn't quite get everything out to clear up your die. So that is that. And again, whoever orders a Big Shot from me, the first person, I'll send this to them. This is invaluable, honestly. I use this on a daily basis. Okay, now the other thing, when you are running these through, you can use, and I think I showed you before, these Sizzix adhesive sheets, which would make this become a sticker, because you would peel off the back and it would just attach to whatever. Now, if you don't have these, but still want to use these on a project, but don't want to like try to get glue on all these little spots, I recommend, and this works great, laying this down, and what you're going to do is take your sponge and add a little globby bit of glue like this, okay? And then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna like stamp it off just a little bit so it's not thick, but you're just gonna pounce it on the back of that little piece. And then you pick it up and stick it down, and it's stuck. So that's a way to get around some of these little fine pieces. You can use just a little sponge, and then this just washes right out. I can take this over to the sink and wash it right out. So that's a great way to get around trying to adhere something that's really fine. So I think hopefully that answers all your questions. You can use, of course, these look beautiful. I'll show this real quick. This paper I am so in love with. It is the Wood Textures 6x6, and it comes in every color. I think you've seen me stamp on this. I've used scraps, I've lined envelopes. It lasts and lasts, but you can also cut out your dies and have an automatic texture so that it looks kind of cool. I'm going to turn this just a little bit here and move this up to where the other one, so I use up the least amount of space. Okay, there we go. And we'll run this through. Oh, of course I put it in backwards. Okay, well, we'll go backwards. There we go. And you heard that cracking and crunching. That was just basically it cutting through and hitting that bottom plate. So there we go. There is the tree. And it just adds a lot of texture and dimension to that tree. I mean, I think that's so beautiful. I probably would have put the grain going up and down, but you do have to think about that when you're cutting things out that have a up and down pattern. So hopefully that answers all the questions. I've got another quick video after this. I'm going to show the Stamparatus and how I created a template using the Big Shot. So stay tuned. Talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.